Well, good evening, and Dr. Gardner, thank you also for being here. We have two speakers on our program this evening, and the first speaker is somebody that you've seen before. It's Joe Goldberg. Joe, of course, is the founder of the Canadian Symposium for Parental Alienation. And this is the third event, this is the third time that this organization has put on an event like this. So I think in future years, he'll be known, of course, as the father. Joe will be the father of CSPAS. I was honored this time around that he and I worked together to some extent. I mean, he did most of the work, but I helped a little bit in organizing this program this weekend, and it was really interesting to see it unfold and to see it take place. So that's been fun for me. So I don't know if you all actually know what Joe does in his day job. He actually has a life other than organizing CSPAS events, but even his day job involves parental alienation. Joe's a professional consultant regarding parental alienation issues to either attorneys or family members or individuals involved in this kind of problem. That's the kind of work that he does. He's bilocated. He works about half-time in Orlando and about half-time in Toronto. And so he handles cases actually in both countries, both in the United States and Canada. So this evening, Joe is going to tell us what he does. And the name of his talk is What a Consultant Can Do for You.
Well, first again, I'd like to express my gratitude to both Dr. Lee Gardner and Dr. Julie Gardner. I am very honored by their presence here, and Dr. Richard Gardner was a great, great man. Thank you again for coming. I struggled a bit to try to think of the things that I wanted to say to you today. I actually didn't put anything to paper until last night. So I'm sort of reading from my notes, and I'll have to improvise some of the parts of it. But the work that I've done as a consultant in cases involving parental alienation has had some mixed results. Some of the cases I've worked on, I've had some positive outcomes. And by positive outcome, I would define it as a court intervention that enabled a rejected parent to reestablish the relationship with the alienated child. And that might mean a modification in the visitation schedule, a reversal of custody, sole decision-making over the medical decisions for the child, or supervised visitation for an alienating parent. But along the way, I've also experienced my fair share of disappointments in cases, which I believe have turned out to help me have more insight into the things I can do better in the future. So I believe that it's important for me tonight to try to outline some of the things that I've learned from my unique vantage point, and I hope that it will help a number of family law lawyers and families struggling to overcome parental alienation problems. I'm going to try to keep my presentation brief so we can get on to Dr. Amy Baker's presentation, but there are 6 examples of what I believe a consultant can do for you. When you're a targeted parent involved in a case of parental alienation, you're involved in a very fast-moving conflict with a lot of high risks. High risk to the child, going from mild to moderate to severe degrees of alienation. High risk that the alienating parent will be making efforts to push your buttons and try to make you force yourself into mental mistakes that could harm your litigation. And it's really not a good time to sit around and try to read some books and figure out what you're supposed to do. It's an important opportunity for a targeted parent to make a decision to hire a consultant. Although every case is different, many events that occur require very decisive action, and you'll need to be able to rely on somebody that's there for you all the time. For example, in most of the cases I've worked on, I try to make myself available to a client 7 days a week. I take phone calls from them sometimes at midnight, sometimes even later. And here are the 6 things I think a consultant can do for a targeted parent. A consultant can assist you in role modeling the appropriate co-parenting behavior. Targeted parents underestimate the importance of this court expectation, and without the right advice, mistakes can lead to false positive conclusions about justified estrangement. Number 2, a consultant can evaluate the probability of a staged event or the danger of a false allegation. These potential problems can interfere with and disrupt parenting access, and also put the child at greater risk of emotional harm. Number 3, a consultant will help you to capture the evidence that is useful in litigation. Evidence that will support the conclusion a parent is alienating a child. Because if you don't capture that evidence, there's very little reason to believe a judge will find it's going on. Number 4, a consultant will help you to find mental health professional services to assist you in adjusting to the suffering you experience as a targeted parent. And without that support, perhaps you will be left to rely on well-intentioned sympathizers, but this will not prepare you to resume the parenting responsibilities of an alienated child. Number 5, a consultant can assist you in education that introduces psychological literature, which can help you identify and better understand the strategies employed by the alienating parent. This education will give you the tools to combat the obstacles you face on a daily basis. And number 6, a consultant can better manage the cost of legal expenses. Most people leave all the decisions up to the lawyer. A more effective strategy includes a 3-way dialogue to keep your case within financial boundaries, and focused on the strategy that uses your litigation dollars wisely. And if you're a family law lawyer, let me give you some reasons why a consultant can help you too. A consultant can assist you in wording and the construction of your motions. This is important because even small errors can poke holes through an argument that seem airtight. Your consultant and lawyer need to work as a team and take from each other the best that both have to offer the client. Number 2, a consultant can assist in letters to opposing counsel. This is an important part of building a paper trail. Skipping over efforts to be reasonable can be a serious miscalculation, and a consultant can put more focus on the issues that need to be drawn out by the lawyer. Number 3, a consultant can be advising the lawyer on strategy, and that strategy needs to be outlined at the very earliest stages of every case. Without a strategy, a client can see no light at the end of the tunnel. Number 4, a consultant can better manage the parental conflict. And reducing conflict is important to both the client and to the client's lawyer. If it isn't, then a lawyer may be acting in a self-serving manner. Number 5, a consultant is more likely to be accessible or available than a lawyer. This will enable the client to receive faster guidance in how to respond to whatever event or crisis might be taking place. This is also helpful to keeping the case on track. And number 6, a consultant can also reduce the level of stress between a lawyer and the client. This is important because many cases can take time to settle. And as the litigation drags on, it's important for a lawyer to have an ally that they can learn to trust. If you're a mental health professional, a consultant can also help you get involved or stay out of the litigation issues. A consultant can help you to work with other doctors who have more expertise to assist you with counseling solutions. A consultant can also provide materials on parental alienation that can be watched from DVDs and shared with the client. A consultant can open doors to assisting multiple members within a family, actually expanding your practice. And a consultant can steer you away from some unethical and unprofessional conduct that could cause a problem and harm a patient. And last, a consultant can help you identify parental alienation and know the difference between real parental alienation from justified estrangement. So I'd like to just finish my remarks by saying that everybody's case is different. When we have a moderate or a severely alienated child, there's only one way, I believe, to help that child, and that is with a court intervention. And to some degree, although the legal system is not a perfect system, which we all know, it is the most effective way to provide the right intervention to help the alienated child. Sometimes when I'm involved in a case and a lawyer says to me, "Joe, that's not going to work. We can't do that," I'll try to present the best argument about the reasons why we should still try it. And then I tell the lawyer and the client something that Winston Churchill once said: "When I hear a good argument, I change my mind. What do you do?" Thank you.